Today I attempted a Rivals Pokemon only challenge. Hey guys, my name's Joey, and this is today's challenge. My community on Twitch challenged me this time to only use my Rivals Pokemon throughout the whole run of Pokemon SoulSilver. The standard rules as always can be seen here. I can only catch the Pokemon locked to that particular route at that particular time. If I have a Pokemon faint during the gym leader battle, I can't use it for the rest of the run. Okay, so the rival of this game is known as Silver, who is Giovanni's son. He's come back for some revenge after we demolished him in my previous video of Fire Red. His Pokemon at the Elite Four consists of Sneasel, Golbat, Magneton, Alakazam, Gengar, and a starter dependent who you choose. Now, Cyndaquil is my favourite starter out of the three. That's who I chose as a kid, so naturally, I'll choose him. However, seeing as your starter chooses the opposite typing, he'll choose Totodile since I chose Cyndaquil, so that's what we'll be using in this playthrough. So jumping right into it, I choose my Cyndaquil straight away in order for the following of chain of events to happen. Once I head over and see the Oak Man at Mr. Pokemon's house, we get a call from Professor Elm saying, "Oh no, something happened in the lab." Scurrying all the way over back to Cherry Grove, that's when I see my rival for the first time and I destroy his Totodile in the mandatory fight. So heading all the way back to Professor Elm's lab, we tell the Policia that our rival's name is Reggie. Now, I'd like to think that for this challenge in particular, we're going to be stealing his Totodile, and the one that he has will be a Ditto in disguise. We name it Griffles, and we make our way back to where we came from. We make our way back up towards Route 30 and Route 31, and we head on over to the Dark Cave to catch our first Pokemon of the run, which is a Zubat. We name her Batgirl, and away we go. Head over west until you reach Violet City, and head straight north to the Sprout Tower where we can get our third Pokemon of the run right here and now, which is a Ghastly. Now, remember guys, you have to catch him in the night time, so yes, of course, when I was recording during the day, I waited 8 real-time hours for the nighttime, yeah.
Yes, that'll do.
We name the Ghastly Miffy, and we train it until we hit the level cap of Faulkner 13. Okay, now seeing as we don't have an early type advantage Pokemon, I decide to use Batgirl first, and we open with Bite. I luckily get the flinch, and we chomp the Pidgey away. The main course comes in now, and it's his Pidgeotto. So I start off with Supersonic, which luckily connects. Unfortunately though, it snaps out, and it hits me with the tackle. I swap Miffy in, and I wanted to go in with a Confusion and a Hypnosis combination. So Miffy hits sleep, and the birdie goes night-night. This is the perfect opportunity for Griffles to come in and hit with the Water Gun. Now, ideally, I should have hit Bite first, as it does more damage, and I'm going to be using the calculator a bit more in this run, so that's what I start doing. So instead of the sheer power, I have to play this out perfectly. So I hit the Leer, and he uses Roost. I go for another bite before setting up properly with the Leer, so mistake by me. A lot of back and forth is going on while he's using Roost, and I hit with another Leer, and then I bite whenever I can, and before you know it, I'm left with 10 HP. I don't play around crits and I leave Griffles in, and he goes down to 3 HP this time. I hit the bite, and he's left with a sliver of HP now, so I swap over to Batgirl to finish the job, and the first badge is mine. Let's go pick up the egg from the Pokemart upon Professor Elm's request. It goes straight in the PC like he asked, right? Heading south to Route 32, we eventually hit the PC Center and head on into the Union Cave. Make your way out and you'll find yourself just outside of Azalea Town, where we'll witness a Team Rocket grunt making a fuss with this poor fella. Bro, he's just chilling out, man, what the hell? But look, we'll deal with him in just a little bit. While we're here, head on over to the old dude in the top left house, and he'll storm out to deal with those ragamuffins in his dang city. So let's go follow him to the Slowpoke well. Down below, we'll find that he broke his back down here. My back's sore. Need you to help me to continue on. Alright, fine. We'll go beat up some Team Rocket grunts. We're doing this again, aren't we, huh? Just use Zubat or Totodile with Bite, and it's pretty easy. Back to Kurt's house. He'll say thanks after he's magically fixed his back somehow. And now it's time to fight the second gym leader, Bugsy. Since we're level 17, Zubat has learned Wing Attack, so that's who we'll start off with. His Scyther can be pretty deadly, so be careful, because when he uses Focus Energy for the crits, you're dead. His Quick Attack does 18 damage here, and I hit back putting her on half HP. We proc the berry, and I swap over to Ghastly to eat the normal attack. I'm banking on him using U-Turn here, and after I swap in Griffles, he uses Leer? Weird AI. Anyway, I hit a Leer of my own before I know it. Griffles is sitting on 10 HP after he uses his U-turn. The Metapod comes in and I swap over back to Miffy. Since he doesn't have anything else other than Tackle, I Night Chain him down and the Scyther comes in once again. I decide to use Hypnosis and bring in Batgirl in hopes to two-shot her at this point. Luckily I get the both sleep turns and now it's easy pickings. Kakuna comes out, and once again with 2 wing attacks, it's all over. Second badge is mine. Now we have the rival fight coming up. So I level Griffles one more time to get the Croconaw, and then we take on the mirror match for our first time ever. Reggie brings out Ghastly, in which I start with Croconaw. 2 bites for the Ghastly and the Zubat, and then we've got a bit of a less HP matchup with our Water Crocodile. My strat coming into this mirror matchup is to use Leer and bite so I get a little bit more of the advantage here. His strat, however, is to lower my speed so he bites first, the clever lad. So with a little bit of HP to go, I swap in Batgirl to finish the job, and we've beaten him fair and square. Keep heading west into the Elex Forest and do the Farfetch minigame. Grab a HM slave and use Cut to progress north. Help out the Kimono girl along the way as well, then head out towards Route 34. There's another encounter here, so guess what? We've got our absolute Giga Chat of a Pokemon. My absolute favorite is coming right up here, folks. It is the Abra. Look, Alakazam is my boy, so I kind of had to finesse chat here, and I claimed the Pokemon, so I named it Not Joey, because, you know, I'm playing with my rival's Pokemon, not Joey. Yeah, you get it. Anyway, so right after we get the Abra, we evolve it into the Kadabra and head on over to the Game Corner. Yes, the Game Corner with more TMs that we'll oh so need for this run. So basically, in preparations for the upcoming Whitney fight, I had to do some hard calculations, and I saw that obtaining the Ice Beam for Croconaw was the hardest hitting move that we could do. To obtain this, we have to get 10,000 coins from the Coin Master, and I definitely stayed there for ages to hustle for him. Yes, I did. Speaking of Whitney, let's go find her. She's at the radio tower, and after flawlessly answering the questions correctly, she scurries off to her gym, and that's where we'll be challenging for our 3rd badge. Now, this strat is going to be incredibly hard, even this early in the game. There's a reason why so many people call this the run killer in normal runs, modded runs, whatever run it is. This Miltank is absolutely no joke. You know, the infamous rollout meme or the infamous Miltank that everyone talks about? Yeah, in this kind of challenge, she's still as fucked. Alright, so I open with Not Joey, and I high-rolled 2 confusions in a row, luckily escaping the Clefairy's metronome too. Yep, here it comes. Here is the Miltank. I hit it with some decent damage before tanking a 33 damage stomp. Yikes. I have to swap over to Batgirl and try to proc the Lumberry it's carrying with Supersonic. And of course it doesn't hit, and my Batgirl is left with 2 HP. I swap over to Griffles, and, yep, look what it started. It's starting. Here's the rollout. I have no choice but to seek for Griffles for a crit, a freeze, just anything. And of course, unfortunately, it goes down to the 3rd rollout hit. I finish it off with a confusion from Not Joey, and I win the badge. So why is Whitney crying? I'm the one that should be crying, because I lost my star player, Croconaw. After much deliberation and turmoil, I decided to end the run here and now to start again because I just simply cannot complete this without my Croconaw. Back all the way to the beginning in a completely new run, we name the rival Shayla, Griffles V2 comes back, Hitchcock the Zubat, Ados the Ghastly, and now we're back at Faulkner. Alright, Hitchcock leads the fray, biting the Pidgey twice. Only this time he's taken a tackle hit. Pidgeotto is up, and I'm relying on the similar strat of using Supersonic and Hypnosis. Supersonic missed not once, not twice, but 3 times. Woo, yeah! I bring in Ados, and after tanking a Gust, I hit the Hypnosis. I swap into Griffles, and guess what? He's woken up! Ooh, this fight's going really in my way. Not only this, he's that angry that he hits me with a Gust crit too. I actually can't believe it, eh? I say screw it, I'm gonna rely on flinches. So after being brought down to 3 HP, I actually get a crit of my own, and he's left in the red. What is happening? What's this battle? I swap back out for Ados, and I rely on the tackle here, which misses, finally, some good calculation, and I do hit the Hypnosis once again. I end up swapping in the Zubat, and guess what? He's woken up yet again, immediately kills Hitchcock. I've got nothing left in the tank at this point, and I go down to Faulkner. I actually do not understand how clean it was the first time, and now this time round, we get absolutely battered. Okay, we're doing this shit 3rd time lucky. Let's speed run through this sort of catch up, shall we? Rival, Chuck. Totodile, Old Gator. Zubat, Batman. Ghastly, Barrel. Faulkner, combo with the Hypnosis, Leer, Bite, swap between Pokemon, dead. Bugsy, Sleep, Nightshade, sweep a barrel, repeat. And now we're back with Whitney. Regardless of how many calculations in all the possibilities and all the universes, I had simply come to terms with that I had to sacrifice 1 Pokemon here instead of swapping over to try to tank the hits for no reason at all. I learned from those mistakes. So we start off with Old Gator to bite the Clefairy. I swap out to Batman and luckily hit the crit to down her. The bane of my existence Miltank is back, and after getting hit with Stomp, I hit the Supersonic to proc the Lumberry. Here is where the sacrifice is going to be made. It has to be Batman. I'm sorry, but it's got to be for the greater good. The protector of ASAP City, the Batman has to take the fall. In comes Barrel, and now I can cleanly hit the Hypnosis, and because it's got Scrappy, the Stomp hits, and of course I get infatuated here too, and I miss the chance. I swap over to Old Gator, and after missing some opportunities to hit Ice Beam, one goes off, and I'm forced to swap over to not Joey. The Stomp comes out again, and I rely on Disabled to negate the attack, and luckily it does. I decide to hit a Confusion here as I think it can eat a rollout, and it's left with just 2 HP. I decide to just go for it for the Confusion proc, and oh my days. He's done the unthinkable. He's actually hit the Confusion on him. Unfortunately though, Whitney whips out the Super Potion and we're back to where we started. Ah, nuts. One Confusion goes out and I've just got no other choice. But not Joey, who's pulled off the heist of the century and he gets a crit. The victory is mine. After going through all of that RNG from Faulkner and even with Whitney in the earlier run, victory is finally mine. I spent hours and hours dying and resetting, and it's finally turned into my favor. Rest in peace, oh Batman, for the greater good. Well, it's getting into nighttime now in real life, and we head north to Route 35. Keep going until you hit National Park and grab Dig along the way. Head east to Route 36 until you see our beloved friend, ASAP Stick. Make sure you grab the squirt bottle beforehand and progress further northwest towards Ekritique City. There's another rival fight coming up in the Burn Tower. My Mon here are level 20-ish, so when you're ready, you can head there now and you open with the Kadabra. Not Joey slices through Ghastly and Zubat until his Croconaw comes out. Keep biting your way through with our Croconaw as much as you can and swap out if needed. My Old Gator didn't need it because he's an absolute Giga Chat though. He has a new Pokemon on his team though now, and it's Magnemite. I decide that Old Gator stays in and it can eat one Thunder Shock, but no more. I Ice Beam him before swapping out to Not Joey to finish off the job. Heading over to the dance theatre, we make light work out of the Team Rocket bully here and we save the Kimono girl. The old man here gives us Surf and we're free to use it in battle, which I always thought was pretty absurd pretty early into this game. But regardless, immediately teaches to your Croconaw and now we gotta train up for Morty. So, as we level our Ghastly into a Haunter, we're looking pretty safe here as we can take on the leader of the Ghost-type gym, Morty. All you gotta do is send in your Kadabra and mash that Psybeam and it'll all be over before you know it. Hey, while you're here mashing buttons, mash like and subscribe to the channel now. Light work gets us our 4th badge. As we continue west to Route 38, along this way we can catch our second last Pokemon of the run, Magnemite. We name it Core and we head down to Olivine City. Now, the best route to do things here with how limited these levels are coming up, you need to follow these steps carefully from here on out, otherwise you leave yourself level locked. Head on over to the lighthouse here and fight all the trainers you can before reaching the top. Jasmine is here with the sick Ampharos and she asks you if you can grab it some medicine over in Cianwood City. Head southwest via Surf and you'll reach it in no time. Now, the final Pokemon we need is actually on this island itself. In the traditional Pokemon playthrough, you're given a Shuckle at this particular house. I would like to think in the world of the rival, in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, his Sneasel is actually unavailable until Mount Silver, which isn't accessible until post Elite Four game. So how the hell did he get it? In the normal playthrough, a man says that someone took one of his prized Pokemon, in which I would like to believe, in my world of this Rivals playthrough, is actually a Sneasel. So, if you would indulge me in my theory crafting session here, we can obtain a Sneasel here instead of the Shuckle. You follow me? With that all being said, we name the Sneasel Miffy and we continue on. Head on over to the updated medicine store as we need to purchase this for Jasmine and our quest to save Ampharos later on. We're not going to do it quite yet though. The last thing we need to do here is to take over the gym to obtain our 5th badge. From this point of the run, I found it to be a bit more easier and less stressful in terms of preparation and who I need to swap in and out and all of that stuff, and you'll see it as it goes on for this mid to late game period. All you need here is Kadabra and we Psybeam our way to victory. The Poliwrath took 2 hits, but nothing too big seeing as its moveset isn't that worrisome. Alrighty, so we've got Jasmine's medicine and we can actually level to Verso now, but let's progress in the main storyline and head over east from Ekritique City. Now that we've got Surf, we can access past Route 42 and eventually reach Mahogany Town. Let's go north towards the Lake of Rage and encounter the shiny Gyarados. I remember doing this fight as a kid and I was so perplexed, like, why is this a different color? Why isn't it the normal blue color? So I ended up just grabbing it and used it for my final playthrough of my normal Pokemon Silver run. I'm curious though, what was everyone's first shiny? Mine was a Krabby fishing post-game near Bill's house. Let me know in the comments below. So after dealing with the Gyarados, head over to the totally legit and normal goods and services house, and head downstairs to complete all the Team Rocket stuff with Lance. Look, the one thing I'll say is, how the hell did he get a level 40 Dragonite here? First arrival having a Sneasel, and now a level 40 Dragonite? I don't know, man, something's a bit sus. But when this is all done anyway, let's go over to the gym and verse Pryce. Before we get started, I evolve Core into the Magneton and we head over to the Voltorb flip table to obtain Thunderbolt for it. We open with Core and put our new TM to use straight away. Easy one shot. Out comes the Piloswine and I swap over to Barrel to eat the Mud Bomb and anticipate he'll use his Ice type moves to eat up as well with the Old Gator as well. We wash him away with Surf and now it's just the Dugong to deal with. I decide to leave Old Gator in to crunch him a few times, badges ours. Let's waste no time and head over to Jasmine for our 7th badge. Teach Sneasel Dig before starting this battle, and that's who we're going to be opening with as well. Use Dig straight off the bat to get rid of one Magnemite. Now she's brought in her Steelix though. Easily swap out to Old Gator and hit it with the Surf, one hit as well. Her second Magnemite comes out and I swap over back to Miffy. He hits the Supersonic and I decide to play it safe and swap over to Core. He hits the Thunder Wave this time and I'm cleared to swap back over to Miffy. Magnemite makes it easier and hits the Sonic Boom, and now I can dig my way to victory. Alright, so after we receive a call from Professor Elm to let us know we gotta rehash an old storyline and beat up some more Team Rocket members, let's travel to Goldenrod City and smash through it all. Head over to Underground Passage and nab our Team Rocket garments. We look pretty snazzy here, right? Imagine playing as Team Rocket for a run. Anyways, head over to the radio tower and make your way up to the top by defeating the coughing and wheezing crew, then head all the way back down to the underground passage now that we've got access with the key. Before you press forward, be prepared for our next rival fight. It's coming up right now. At this stage, I'm pretty confident in these mirror matches, so let's bring the pain to Chuck once again. Not Joey wipes out the Golback and the Haunter in one, and then out comes the Sneasel. I swap out to Core to eat the feint attacks and retaliate with Magna Bomb, which takes about 2 to drop down the Sneasel. Stupidly, he sends out his Feraligatr and I Thunderbolt to take care of him. Lastly comes out his wee little Magnemite and we trade Thunder Waves. I just go for Thunderbolts here and the rival's on his way once again. From here, just go through the barriers and make your way all the way down to the detective dude hiding down here, then make your way back up to the radio tower. Access the area we couldn't before, plowing our way through all the admins and all the other trainers and whatnot. Then finally at the end, we verse Archer. Just be mindful of his Houndoom, but with our team, it shouldn't be too hard to maneuver across the board in the radio tower altogether. Look, I don't know, man, it's a kind of underwhelming storyline. We've rehashed that kind of stuff. I just turned my brain off and I just destroyed everything. At the end, we receive our Silver Wing, which we'll be needing later. Now we're traveling back to Mahogany Town, but finally traversing east towards Route 44. Eventually we hit the ice path, and there's a few things we need to get here, so we'll run through them, what we need to get. Grab the waterfall straight away, and the Never Melt Ice in here as well. Make your way through the puzzles and the ice parts, and finally we'll get outside the cave. Okay, a few things we gotta do. The first thing here is to find the move deleter, get rid of Surf, and slot in Waterfall for Alligator. His physicality is much better for Waterfall than Surf. Go back and grab the Avalanche from Ice Cave as well. We'll be needing it later on. For general Nuzlocke rules, if you can technically evolve it, you can do it. So, I evolved my Haunter into a Gengar, and a Kadabra into my boy, Alakazam. In preparations for arguably the worst and the hardest gym leaders in history, Clair holds no punches back, and this is regarded as yet another run killer moment. So we need to be calculated, we need to be prepared, we gotta be careful. Right, so we're gonna be doing a checklist here, okay? Grab Thunderbolt from flipping Voltorbs in Goldenrod City and teach it to Gengar. While you're here, in the department store on the 5th floor, you can pay $300 to gamble every day for new prizes. We don't need anything specific here yet, but remember this place because we'll be coming back. At the moment though, we're going to be hunting for 2 cherry berries for our Thunder Waves on the Dragonairs. We're going to be using them for our Gengar and for Alligator primarily. This fight is incredibly hard and requires true finesse, so let's show Claire why we're the Challenger King. I open with Barrel to destroy the 4 times super effective Gyarados. Her first Dragonair comes out, and we can smash through the first with no scratches, but it's the second one that gives me a bit of stress because we've already procced the berry now. Naturally, keep using Shadow Ball to 2-shot them, and you have to gamble to see if the Thunder Wave is going to paralyze or not. Unfortunately, I have to tank 2 of the Dragon Pulses before breaking through with another Shadow Ball. The real meat and potatoes of the fight is now, so here we go. I bank on her Kingdra using Dragon Pulse, and we swap over to Core. Then she decides to use Hydro Pump. Core just survived on 1 HP! What an absolute madman! He can actually carry the run now and getting the Thunder Wave off. I end up switching to not Joey and stalling by using Recover for every hit the Kingdra uses on me. For every paralysis, miss, or mitigated damage that I can actually use now with the Calm Mind, I execute that. So then later on, I could just hit him with one big Psychic at the end. I think out of all the hardcore Nuzlockes I've come across in my time, this is the most stressful. Kingdra is an absolute run killer. Rightio, 8th badge done now with Clair going down, but we have to go through the Dragon Cave and find the Dojo Master to actually get this badge in our hands. Why did the 2 most hardest gym leaders in this game have to be the most sookiest? I mean look, they've got the most badass Pokemon here, so losing, totally understand. Afterwards, we get a call from Professor Elm saying that we have to pay a visit to the Kimono girls in Ecruteak City. We're not out of the woods yet, because out of all the evolutions that's coming up here, back to back to back to back to back to back, this is gonna be a doozy. Whew, okay, strap yourselves in. This is another sequence that took a lot of careful planning and utilization of every single 5 Pokemon in my party. For references here, make sure you equip a Lumberry on Feraligatr. Let's start off with Core and swap off to Old Gator. He tanks a Dark Pulse hit and will eventually start using Confuse Ray. I end up using Waterfall here because it's a solid enough move and I can tank some hits when necessary. I power through the last Confusion and I beat Umbreon. Next up is the Espeon. Since I know it'll use Psychic, I swap over to Miffy and I use a couple of Feint attacks to defeat it, as I only know that his only last move after that is a Swift. Flareon comes out now and I'm baiting out the Fire Blast, which I can swap over to Old Gator. Unfortunately, I get burned here and I'm stressing now to see if Waterfall can just still do enough damage, and luckily it does. 3 down, 2 to go. These next 2 I found to be the most hardest to adapt to now. With Jolteon, it's your biggest threat out of the 5 because he's so fast and he actually aims to use the move Last Resort. Last Resort is when you have to use all 3 of your other moves for this move to do an insane amount of damage. I stay in with Core and I hit a couple of Magnet Bombs because I aim to utilize Miffy here with the Dig. If you have any spare Cherry Berries left, just in case, you should chuck them on Sneasel. I tank the Thunderbolt and hope that his evasiveness isn't too high here, and luckily Miffy's been eating his carrots and he can not avoid the evasiveness Jolteon. 1 more to go now. This is now the reason why I start off with Core. This Pokemon right here, the Vaporeon. So, as he hits me with the Surf, I hit back with a Thunderbolt, but since it's faster, it'll kill me. This is when I swap over to Gengar to tank a hit, and after knowing I'll be faster than him, I'll hit back with my own Thunderbolt, and the Kimono girls are finally defeated. Okay, we're finally at the home stretch now. We make our way towards Whirl Islands and witness one of the coolest cinematics in the Pokemon games, the arrival of Lugia. Sick. Eventually, we're going to reach Victory Road, and we got to pick up a few things here to complete our movesets for the Elite Four. Make sure you grab Earthquake, and do not go towards the end of the cave until you're fully ready, because we're going to verse the final fight with our rival. I gained more and more confidence over our matchups, and we're going to show him why we can out-rival the rival and beat this challenge once and for all. So I actually forgot who he opened up with here, and he starts with a Sneasel. I swap over to Miffy and I hit a few digs to win the mirror matchup. He brings out a Magneton, so guess what? I'm gonna bring out my Magneton. But I actually forgot that, I don't know why, but my brain always tells me that he has a Levitate. Does anyone else have that issue too? Anyway, so I swap over to Core and I Thunderbolt my way through. As he brings out the Feraligatr with God knows why, he's actually throwing the match. He hits me with a pretty big Waterfall, but my pretty big Thunderbolt was way too much for him. His Haunter comes out and I swap back over to Miffy. I Feint Attack him to death, leaving him with his Golbat, in which I use Avalanche. Now lastly with his Kadabra, Feint Attack once again, and now we're done with him forever. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the Elite Four, and now we're going to grab a few last things before I run through the moveset on everybody. So first of all, grab some cherry berries if you need from the Lottery Girl, but in particular, there's a TM that you need from her also. On Tuesdays, you can buy a ticket and potentially win this for first prize. The first prize here is... Flash Cannon. Here is an itemized list on what everyone has with their moveset. On Gengar, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Dark Pulse, Sucker Punch. On Alakazam, Recover, Psychic, Calm Mind, and Shadow Ball, which is given from Morty. On Sneasel, Focus Punch from Chuck, Substitute from Voltorb Flipping, Avalanche from Ice Cave, and Feint Attack. On Magneton, Hyper Beam from Goldenrod Department Store, Thunderbolt, Thunderwave, and Flash Cannon. And lastly, for Feraligatr, Earthquake, Ice Fang, Crunch, and Waterfall. And as usual, guys, don't forget to stock up on the family-friendly drugs, items, berries, ethers, elixirs, and stock up on your full restores in between battles. The Elite Four, it's time to play the game. First up is Will, who specializes in psychic Pokemon. I start off with Gengar, and I gotta tell ya, this is way more easier than anticipated. Use Thunderbolt for the Zartus, and Shadow Ball everywhere else, and it's a clean sweep, 1 out of 4 done. Next up is Koga, who gets an upgrade from being the Kanto gym leader into an Elite Four member. Cool. I start with Not Joey and I use Psychic for the Ariados. He brings out the Forretress, which I think is a little bit hard to deal with for what I've got in my party. I swap out to Miffy and I start using the Substitute and Focus Punch combination. The Forretress is looking to stall by using Protect and Toxic Spikes. It just can't hit me with anything else, so it's the perfect opportunity to stall it out a bit just to get the job done. Now, out comes the Muck, and I gotta bring back Not Joey to Psychic my way to victory. With the Toxic Spikes down, you can afford to tank all of this damage, which isn't too bad actually. And another one bites the dust before you know it, 2 to go. Bruno is here once again, and he's got quite a formidable team. Unless you've got an Alakazam like me, of course. His Hitmontop starts, and I'm banking on him using either Detect or Dig, so I'm free here to actually use my Calm Mind. Remember this strat from the last video? Well, we're basically doing the same thing. Since this game can rehash the Team Rocket story, I can rehash the Calm Mind story. We can sweep with the Psychic to enjoy the easy win. We don't need to swap out for Onyx at all, just hit him with the Psychic too, you're all done. Okay, Karen is one tough cookie. Big fan of her Dark-type Pokemon here, actually. Maybe I'll do a run with her sometime, who knows. Anyway, let's start with Miffy, and she brings out her Umbreon. Same tactic here as we can Substitute and Focus Punch. She ends up getting into the red and uses a full restore, then swaps out to a Houndoom. My Substitute here eats a Flamethrower, and I'm free to put the dog down with a Focus Punch. She sends out a Gengar now, and I know it's got Focus Blast. Now, mind you, Focus Blast has a 70% accuracy, so I end up using Substitute until I can't no more. She actually ends up hitting all of her Focus Blast, which is absolutely crazy, by the way. Someone crunched the numbers. So I eventually swap out to Not Joey here, 1 Psychic, and it's done. Now we're going back to our Umbreon. I swap over to Core and hit 2 Thunderbolts. I'm taking it slower here now as I don't want to be hit with the Confuse Ray, and I swap over to Old Gator. We're going to do the same strat as we did with the Kimono girls, sheer waterfall power. Much like her Focus Blast accuracy, all of their confusions do apparently. It doesn't hit me not once, not twice, but 3 times. Again. So I bring in Core and power through the confusion to finally bring down the Umbreon. She sends out a Vileplume and I swap out to Not Joey. She hits the Stun Spore and I power through it to hit the Psychic. Now it's just a Murkrow to go. I make the switch over to Core, Thunderbolt destroys the bird, and now we're 1 fight away for completing our Rivals Pokemon Only Challenge. Hello there, Lance Vance. You helped us out all the way in the Rocket Dungeon earlier, and now I'm going to help retire you once and for all. Get all of your ethers in, make sure you've got all cherry berries all spread across around your team. Let's kick it all off with Barrel, where he demolishes the Gyarados with a Thunderbolt. Aerodactyl's up next, and I predict he's going to crunch. Once he does, I swap into Core, and I actually hit the Thunder Wave here, and ideally, I should have just gone for a Thunderbolt, which I do in the following turn, and he's downed also. His Charizard's in now, and I can easily swap into Old Gator to eat up the Fire Fang. Using Waterfall here puts him in the red, which forces the heal, and I use another 2 Waterfalls to finally finish him off. It's going all absolutely to plan right now, and now it's time to see the sheer power of his real dragons. Dragonite number 1 comes in, and I predict it's going to be the one with Thunder, which it is, and it does connect, leaving me with 13 HP. My Ice Fang goes off, and he's actually forced to heal here. I get another one off with the Feraligatr, and I actually one-shot him. Great stuff here by Old Gator. Dragonite number 2 is in now, and I'm left with a sliver of HP. I decide I'm going to stay in, I'm going to tough it out. He uses Blizzard here, but he misses! I get the Ice Fang off and I just put him in the red, forcing yet another heal from Lance. But unfortunately though, Old Gator's time has come, and the Dragonite hits a nasty Dragon Rush on me. The starter we yoinked off the rival to properly do his job all the way through the game, all the way through the Elite Four, has fainted. I send in Barrel to hit the Thunderbolt now to his last Pokemon. He's third, and Ace Dragonite now has come to play hardball. I gotta leave Barrel in here as he hits a Shadow Ball, and his Dragonite hits an absolute mammoth Outrage, which one-shots me. Things aren't looking good here now as we say goodbye to Gengar 2. It's time for Core to come in now and show the real power of Steel. He tanks an Outrage and we get the Flash Cannon off, proccing its berry. The final Outrage goes off here and another death for the team. It's Miffy's time now to shine, and as the Dragonite is confused after the Outrages, I get a bit of luck here and he actually hits himself, and my Avalanche along with the delayed increased damage nets us the win. Guys, we did it! It took 15 long hours altogether, non-broken up. From the start to the end of the challenge, we are now the champion of Johto. This was by far one of the more intricate challenges that I've set myself to do, and these 5 Pokemon in particular all fulfilled their roles in any given point of the game, and they came in clutch in many different moments of this run in its entirety. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more niche and fun challenges like this, please subscribe, and if you haven't already, make sure to like and comment below in what you'd like to see next, or your favorite parts of this video. I have an absolute blast recording these challenges, and I stream almost daily on Twitch, so you can see all of my links in the section below. Come be a part of the live recordings on twitch.tv/ASAPJoey, come hang out with our community, say hello, be involved, or just check out what we actually do live. The next challenges awaits us. I'll see you guys there.